Guys, I'm pretty upset. We did a whole day's worth of work yesterday, and I took the memory card, went to my computer, and memory card was corrupted. Everything that we recorded yesterday is lost. Let me show you guys what we did yesterday. So yesterday we started on this car really early in the morning. The goal was to get the up pipes fabricated for the wastegate and for the down pipe, in this case up pipe. And like I said, I recorded all of that yesterday. We recorded the whole intercooler process, charge pipes, all of that good jazz, because he switched intercoolers to a dual backdoor setup from Speed Factory, and obviously going from the ram horn to a top mount. So the car came here for a ton of fabrication, all in the lost footages this morning. I am super bummed about it. I turned the camera on and it was like memory card error. I'm like, hold on a second, it was working last night. So then I went and put it on my computer. It said right off the bat, need to be reformatted. Oh my god, every video, every photo that was on this memory card, 128 gigs, is gone. But we still got down to work with the car today. I didn't record everything in between the first startup or anything like that. We just wanted to get the car to turn on, and you guys just saw the car runs now, and he's pretty stoked about it. You know what I'm saying? And there's still a lot more to come with this car. I think before we end this video, I am gonna finish the front end install. If you guys remember, when we painted the car, we did the 3-piece front end and we did the rods and everything to hold the bumper into place. So today we're gonna stabilize it a little bit more. We're gonna make the other side. He did bring the whole front end in his Camry over there. So I think the rest of our day, we're gonna just install the front end and get it like permanently on the car. What is going on, you guys? New day here. And yesterday, last night, we were trying to fit the front end on the car, and the intercooler brackets that I made on the top of the intercooler was interfering with the bumper, and it wouldn't slide into place. So I spent pretty much all night fabricating 3 times bracketries to ensure the intercooler was not going to interfere with the bumper once it slid on. And then I had issue with height. I had to bring the intercooler lower, so on and so forth. Now we did get the front end put on the car. It's just loosely hanging there because Paco had to leave the front end here so I could tackle it today. And we stuck it on last night, and I must tell you, man, I am super pumped about this car, more than you guys know. If you guys remember, when we painted the car, I did make one bracket for this quick latch, and it's pretty secured on there. Nothing is holding in the middle. This one right here, we did drill the hole before paint, and it is just being held on by a zip tie. So today's goal, which was supposed to be yesterday's goal, was to fit the whole front end on the car, get all the quick latches installed, and then pretty much secure everything into place as far as 10 millimeters go. Even though this teardrop came out a little different than I had hoped for, this still looks freaking awesome. I just got to trim right there a tad little bit, and then when we have some other free time, we'll make a plate for this to kind of cover up the edges here. And I think it'll look dope if we anodize it red, so it's like a red on red. It's there but it's not there, but it's there. Let me know what you guys think. So the first thing I have to do is line up the fenders, right? Door gap and then hood gap before the bumper. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this out of the way just so it doesn't fall. Aw, dang it. This side is zip tied. So with these fiberglass parts, they are very tricky to get it to align correctly, because you know, this came out of a mold. You know, different companies make the thickness of the material either super thick or thin, like the Frank's front end and stuff like that. So not all the time it's going to line up exactly where you need it to be, but I'm going to try to get as close as I can. If I got to have a bigger gap here, I'm going to have a bigger gap here, because if you guys remembered his previous fender, the door ate it. You can tell where the paint chipped off right there, right there because it used to beat up on the door. But my concern is down here at the bottom. You can kind of see the paint kind of fading off a little bit. You know, thank goodness for single stage because we can just, you know, touch that up. But the goal is to get this fender to be more forward, right? So that way when the door opens, it doesn't break the fiberglass. Because, you know, with the metal one, they just fold it. The fiberglass, probably just gonna crack. So there's a bolt hole down here. There's a bolt hole right here. This one is not drilled out. Previous owner only used one, and there's nothing in the front. So if I have to, I'm gonna have to drill these guys out and get bolts in there as well too. With this bottom tab down here, you guys can't see it, but it's missing half of the tab to bolt the 10mm2. So I can't get this fender to open up the gap a little bit more so we don't touch with the door. But I still have to pull this part of the fender out to give it the gap between the hood, because it rests on top of the edge of here on the fender. And if I pull this out, right, you can see it opens up the gap right here in the front. You see that? So that means I'm gonna line it up to the hood, and hopefully we should have that clearance down there. Barely. Okay, so I got this side lined up, right? This gap is pretty big because we can't push the fender any more inward to close this gap on the hood. But I must say, that gap is pretty fat. But door opens, plenty of clearance, no issues whatsoever. It is a fiberglass front end, it is aftermarket, guys. Not all the time this is gonna line up like OEM, but I can't do anything about that gap. And we already matched up on the front here, and we are matched up on the corner light. So now that the fender is kind of secured into place, I got to put one more bolt right there. I got to drill out that hole, but the fender is now firm into place. I can go ahead and start doing the front bumper. And actually I'm gonna tighten up this right here because it's still loose. I do want to make a bracket for this guy right here as well too, because it's kind of flimsy. And then we'll get started on this side. I got this guy secured into place, right, just to hold this bumper up for now. I had to put one right here, and this side has a vice grip to hold this in place. Right now I am adjusting the headlight to fit up to the bumper because everything is looking good between hood, fender, bumper, fender, left and right side. So it had this giant gap like this, and my goal is to get it to cover up more of the gap. So this one I just did. This one, 2 screws on top, 1 on the inside. It should allow you to adjust the headlight forward or backward. In this case, lift it over the bumper, right, clear the gap, and then just secure it back into place. What I'm doing right now is I'm leaving the vice grip in place to hold this guy where I want it to be. Right now it's nice and flush, and this one is already secured into place on the back side. I didn't really show the install, but you drill a hole smaller than the lip of this, and then you use the nut to secure the latch to whatever it is that you're installing it on. And then in the package it comes with 2 washers right here, front and back, 2 nut and the latch itself. So I'm going to take this out of the bag real quick. So right here we have the latch, we have 1 nut, 2 nut, 2 washers, and this is a washer from my bin right here. And what I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to be using the bigger washer as the like the support for the rods, and I'm going to be welding off this washer so that way we can hold these latch into position that we need it to be. to hold the bumper up. So I should clean that first actually, so I can get a clean weld on it. This goes right in here, latches into place, and I can move this in whatever direction I need it. I try to keep it straight like that, and then I'm gonna make rods base off the washer. So like the other side, I'm probably gonna go one on the bottom, go across, one on the top, somewhere over here maybe, and then one more on this side, keeping it triangulated so it doesn't bow or bend in any direction. Wear a mask, guys. Quick little look before I paint this black. So I added a rod at the top right there to keep this from bowing, because this is super thin, right? And it's pretty firm in place. So took off the bumper to finalize all of the welds. Pretty firm in place. And yeah, I'm gonna paint it black now. I'm gonna go add the support on the other side, since we already did this before, and we can mount the bumper on, see how it looks. So even without the other two, the bumper is pretty firm, right? The only thing we're gonna do, like I mentioned, is we're just gonna put a zip tie here to kind of close the gap up a little bit. I mean, this one's pretty close gap. This one has a slight gap, right? But if I put a zip tie in there, boom, nice and closed. How's that burrito though? Don Cheos? Is the shiznets. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys really quickly. Taking off this bumper. You don't have to take this out all the way. Back it up a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, right? This one is kind of tricky. You gotta like push it in and then like out, right? Pop the other one real quick, Paco. In and out, and then the whole bumper comes off. Very simple, yeah? Yeah. Paco's got to do this by himself at home or whatever. Pretty simple. Secure the front into place first, right? Put my gun here. Make sure the bottom is cleared. Zap the one in the middle. Latched, right? Gucci taters, Gucci taters. Guys, so we got the car back on the ground, right? But I'm gonna have to get it back up on the air in just a minute. So before we end this video, guys, I want to get the shifter mounted in place. So we're not running the base plate because there aren't a base plate for the CRV shifter. Granted that these two front bolt guys are at a slanted angle. And in Joaquin's car, my other buddy that I recorded in the lost clips, I was showing a little bit on his shifter where he runs no base plate. He pretty much just cut this lip off here and mounted this straight to the floor, and that worked. So my goal is to get the shifter kind of information of where the shift linkage shifter setup comes out here. So that means this whole shifter has to go forward somewhere like that. We got plenty of slack, you know, right there. So I think we're gonna cut that lip off and just straight up mount that straight to the floorboard. Get that seat out of there so we can use the grinder up in here. Hey, that little mini baseball bat. I haven't seen that in a good while. The goal is to point away with a spark. Okay? My face. Boy, that would have been bad if I cut my hair in that thing. I'd be bald. Orderly. One right here. Oops. That's what I'm talking about. Go. A little bit more. Okay. Now the other side. One more time. Orderly. Oh, will you look at that? That is dead center. Then we go into gear. Hell yeah, brother. Shifter seems to be nice and neutral and in-centered. Mm-hmm. Yep. This is the most dullest drill bit ever. I need to buy me some new drill bits. Orderly. So what we had to do was we had to hit this little dimple thing down a little bit so that the shifter can sit nice and flat. And it's just nice and flat now. So once we drill this last one right here, we're gonna bolt everything in, go underneath the car and secure it. Yeah, doggy. So guys, we've been dealing with the Cheetah Auto shifter, and this thing is super stripped, so we couldn't even make the adjustments as far as bringing this rod up, because the rod was actually hitting the tunnel right here, and we couldn't go into first, third, or fifth gear. So we tried to loosen it up, it's stripped out, and we can't completely remove it. So I took my old shifter and we installed it on the box, and now we have that stock angle, which is, you know, not a big deal, but for those that are so used to your shifter being, you know, nice and straight, that's what the Cheetah Auto shifter is for you to adjust the angle of the shifter. You can see how it's pointed towards me, and the other one you can swivel it kind of like the K-Tune unit, where you can swivel the angle straight the other way, this way, forward, whatever, to your preference. And yeah, it was super loose, so we decided to just ditch it all and put the stock one back on. But at the end of the day, it actually feels pretty good in this car. In my car, I sit lower, so this shifter is actually like all the way up here. Guys, so because this is a race car, right, and our local track does have like the intercom and their own radio station, and I told Paco, I was like, hey, go grab my my Bluetooth module for my CRX, and I was like, the plug looks the same. So I plugged it up, and sure enough, it is the same. And we're not sure if his speaker works right, but I was like, you know what, let's try it anyway. So turn the key on, Bluetooth comes on, there it is, SANWU audio connected. Go to my music, yo, race car life plus stereo. Legit, dude. Volume up, volume down.